Hey everyone, and welcome. If you've ever felt like the whole world of artificial intelligence is this super complicated, exclusive club, well, this explainer is for you. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and demystify AI. We'll show you exactly how these powerful new tools work, but in simple terms that anyone can get their head around. So let's dive right in.
You know the feeling, right? You're just staring at a blank page, or maybe a massive wall of text from a colleague, and you're just wishing for a little bit of help. That feeling of needing a creative spark or just a shortcut to get through the noise. That's exactly where our story starts.
Now imagine having a super smart assistant right at your fingertips. One that can help you brainstorm ideas, summarize articles, translate languages, and just create things, all in a matter of seconds. That's really the promise of modern generative AI. It's not just some boring tool, it's more like a creative partner. And to get you totally comfortable with this new assistant, we're going to focus on three main ideas. Get these down, and you'll have the confidence to start using it right away.
So, by the end of this quick explainer, you're going to have a solid handle on the AI basics. You'll actually understand what's happening inside those large language models you hear about. And, probably most importantly, you'll know the essentials for using them safely and effectively. Let's start with the big picture.
Okay, let's imagine we're opening up a big toolbox labeled AI. It can feel like there are a million confusing terms flying around, but I promise they all fit together in a pretty logical way. So first up, you have artificial intelligence itself, AI. Think of this as the entire toolbox. It's the big, overarching goal of making computers do smart things that we used to think only humans could do. You know, like playing complex games or even recognizing faces. Now, inside that toolbox is a really crucial tool called machine learning. This was a huge deal because instead of engineers having to write millions of lines of code for every single rule, they could just feed a computer a ton of examples and let it figure out the patterns all by itself. And we can go even deeper. A special kind of machine learning is deep learning. It uses these really complex structures called neural networks, which are kind of sort of inspired by how our own brains work, to learn from just massive, massive amounts of data. We're talking huge chunks of the internet. This is the engine that powers all the cool AI stuff you see today. And that brings us to the star of our show, generative AI. See, this is a type of deep learning that doesn't just analyze or categorize things. It actually creates brand new, totally original content. This is what lets an AI write that email for you or brainstorm that social media post from scratch. So how in the world does a machine actually learn to write like a person? Well, it basically happens in two main stages. You can think of it like a school phase and then a work phase. On one side, you've got training. This is the school part. The AI model is given a gigantic library to study. Again, think of it like reading the whole internet. It just sits there and learns all the patterns, the grammar, the facts, the different writing styles. Then, on the other side, you have inference. This is the work phase. This is when the fully trained model uses everything it learned to actually answer your specific question. Okay, let's zoom in on the specific kind of model that's become an expert in words. The large language model, or LLM for short. An LLM is basically the brain you're talking to when you use something like ChatGPT or Gemini. It's the end result of all that intense training on text, which makes it an expert at understanding and generating language. But how does it actually see language? This part is a little mind-bending. It doesn't see words and sentences the way you and I do. It sees something called tokens. The absolute best way to think about tokens is as little puzzle pieces. Sometimes a piece is a whole word, but other times it's just a part of a word. So, for example, the model doesn't read the phrase, "the quick brown fox." It breaks it down into these token puzzle pieces: the, then quick, then brown, then fox. And its entire job really is to predict, based on trillions of patterns it's already seen, what is the most likely puzzle piece to come next. That's how it builds sentences, one little piece at a time. And that brings us to a really important limit called the context window. Honestly, the easiest way to think about this is as the AI's short-term memory. It's the maximum number of tokens, both yours and its, that it can remember at any one time. If your conversation gets too long and exceeds that window, it'll start to forget what you talked about at the beginning. Okay, now that we know a bit about how it works under the hood, what can you actually do with it? And just as importantly, what are the things you need to watch out for? I mean, the possibilities are pretty amazing. You can take a super dense 10-page document and ask it for the main bullet points. Done in seconds. You can have a brainstorming partner ready to go 24/7 to help you get unstuck. The practical uses are just incredibly powerful.
But, and this is a really big but, we have to talk about its main weakness. There's a phenomenon called hallucination. This is when the AI model just makes stuff up. It'll generate information that sounds totally plausible, and it'll say it with a ton of confidence, but it's completely and utterly wrong. For example, it might spit out a sentence like, "The first person to walk on Mars was Leonardo da Vinci in 1789. It's grammatically correct, it sounds like a fact, but it's complete nonsense. You have to burn this into your brain. AI can be confidently incorrect. It's a tool for matching patterns, not a machine that understands truth. Which leads us to the final and maybe the most important part of our chat today, how to use this incredible technology responsibly so you don't get burned. To keep yourself safe, just remember these 3 simple rules of the road. First, always, always verify critical info. If an AI gives you a date, a name, or a statistic, just treat it like a rumor until you've double-checked it yourself. Second, protect your private data. Never, ever paste sensitive personal info or company secrets into a public AI tool. And finally, be transparent. If you use it for school or work, cite it. Be honest about how it helped you. And there we have it. We've gone from the 30,000-foot view of AI all the way down to the practical rules for using it safely every day. You now have the foundation you need to start exploring. This incredibly powerful tool is now in your hands. So the only real question left is, what are you going to create with it?